What is subject-verb inversion in Norwegian?
So with a couple of sentence examples, let's take a look here. Jeg på skolen i dag. I dag jeg på skolen. So why do we say jeg in the sentence? I am. And in the second sentence we say jeg. Quickly before I tell you, if you have other topics you want me to cover in future videos, please let me know by leaving a suggestion in the comments below. So when do we invert subject and verb? So first of all, we invert the subject and the verb in questions. So for example, we say, Hvor bor du? Bor du I Oslo? That's not going to be the focus of this video right here, but yes, we do it in questions. So that's the first part of the answer. The second part of the answer, which is a little bit more complicated for a lot of learners, is that we invert the subject and the verb whenever we introduce a main sentence with anything that is not the subject. That can be an adverb, adjective, noun, subordinate sentence even. And then what we do is we place the verb in front of the subject. So look at these examples. Det regner I dag becomes I dag regner det. Today rains it. Det tirsdag I morgen. I morgen det tirsdag. Jeg har sett deg før. Deg har jeg sett før. So you have I seen before. A rule of thumb is in Norwegian that the verb comes in second place when we're dealing with main sentences. You might have heard that Norwegian is a V2 language. That means essentially that the verb always comes in second place in Norwegian sentences. Let's try some examples. Vi reiser til Norge neste uke. Neste uke reiser vi til Norge. Jeg I Oslo. I Oslo. Take a second. What can it be? Jeg. Verb, subject. Jeg heter Ola. Or your name. For me, it's Ola heter jeg. Jeg student. Student jeg. And what about this one? Det vil skje mye I neste uke. Perhaps you can try to write a response in the comments below. Or even this. Det skal bli fint vær I Spania I morgen. How can we introduce this sentence with, for example, I morgen, and make it correct? Please leave a suggestion in the comments. What you can also try to do to practice is look at this slide here and just write sentences following up on these introductions. So, om morgenen spiser jeg frokost. Om formiddagen, that's the hours before noon, jobber jeg med or studerer jeg, jobber jeg med skolearbeidet mitt, trener jeg, for example. And so on. Om kvelden spiser jeg middag. When I say that the subject-verb inversion happens in main sentences, that is important to distinguish from subordinate sentences where we don't have the subject-verb inversion. Now, what is a subordinate sentence? Well, a subordinate sentence, which we also call a leddsetning, they are always introduced by a subjunction and subjunction. Examples of subjunctions could be da or når. It can be at, hvis, mens, and a long list of examples. So, da jeg var liten, spilte jeg fotball. Right, so notice how we say da jeg var. We don't say da var jeg, because we're dealing with the subordinate sentence and leddsetning. Some more examples here. Det regnet da jeg var I Norge. What we always can do with subordinate sentences is to click Control-C, because the word order of subordinate sentences never changes. So here I can Control-C this this subordinate sentence, da jeg var I Norge, and now we need a comma, and then we need these two words. But here we have the main sentence, and now we don't start with this main sentence, so now that means we need to say regnet det. Da jeg var I Norge, regnet det. Literally translated, when I was in Norway, rained it. We do this in Scandinavian languages, and also German, but this does not happen in English, or in French, Spanish, Slavic languages, so it's hard to automate this and make it perfect. Sort of perfecting this and automating it is something that takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of repetition. So here you can also do some exercises based on what you see here. Det regnet da jeg var I Norge. Instead, we can start the sentence with da jeg var I Norge, regnet det. Jeg kommer hvis du kommer. Becomes hvis du kommer, kommer jeg. There's more sentences here. If you're unsure of any of them, please try to give a suggestion and leave it in the comments below, and I'll try to correct it or tell you that it is correct. Hopefully you'll get it right. When I told you all this about subjunctions, this gets us into a rabbit hole, kind of a couple of words which carry a lot of meanings in Norwegian. So a couple of these words are så and da. These are homonyms, meaning that they can take on different meanings. They can even belong to different word classes. For example, så. This can be three things, which I've listed here. It can also be more things, which I have not listed, but just focusing on these three. It can primarily be an adverb, a non-obligatory filler word, which we place always in front, right in front of a subject-verb inversion. This word should not be used when you write, but in the spoken language, we use it all the time. So, what you'll hear Norwegians do a lot is I dag så det fint vær. You don't need to say I dag så det fint vær. You can simply say I dag det fint vær. But we do this in spoken language. So with all of these, om morgenen så spiser jeg frokost. Om formiddagen så jobber jeg. This is something we do a lot. So can also be an adverb, meaning thereafter or then. So now we're talking about some sequence. First I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this. Først gikk jeg på skolen, og så gikk jeg på universitetet. Notice how this is also an adverb, meaning that we can start the sentence with this, and that will affect the place of the verb. So here, og så gikk jeg. So here we do get an inversion. However, så can also be a conjunction, similar to so in English. Jeg hadde ikke penger, så jeg kunne ikke kjøpe mat. A conjunction will always bind together two main sentences, so therefore we do not need an inversion. This is like the same word category as og and men and but, and inversion doesn't apply here. So it's easy to kind of mix up in your mind when it's an adverb, when it's a conjunction. So having some sort of some sort of awareness of when you're using this word class, when you're using so as another word class, that will definitely help you in making the right choice whether to invert the subject or not. A similar thing happens with da, which many times is an adverb, på den tiden, på det tidspunktet, at that time. Jeg hadde ikke penger, at that time. Da kunne jeg ikke dra på ferie. An adverb first in the sentence means that we need to have an inversion right after. Da is many times also subjunction. Da jeg var barn, gikk jeg på ski. So da jeg var. We do not have the inversion here, only in the main sentence. Subjunction. Da can also be a subjunction, meaning fordi jeg snakker ikke polsk, da jeg ikke er fra Polen. This is the same as fordi, because. Take a look at these sentences and try to identify the så and the da instances. Which word class do we see for each one? You can try to write your response in the comments below. Lastly, inversion can also get a little bit more complicated when we are dealing with idiomatic expressions, idiomatic phrases, faste uttrykk. The principle here is that the subject is inserted before the rest of the phrase if we have an inversion. Det kommer til å regne I dag. It's gonna rain today. I dag kommer det til å regne. So the idiomatic phrase, idiomatic expression, is sort of broken up by the subject. Try these as well. Vi varmer opp først. Først varmer vi opp. First warm we up. And you can try these last ones for yourself. And please leave in the comments below if you are unsure of any, and I will try to take it.
So there you have it. If you like this content, please consider gently tapping that like button, and please take a moment to reflect over whether you would like to subscribe to this channel. Det var alt.